Hi, I'm Crystal,
And I'm Karin.
and you're listening to the Rom-Com Detectives. Welcome to Rom-Com Detectives, episode 35, Tongue in Cheek, the next episode of our Mentalist unit. Today, Karin and I will be breaking down the 15th episode of the first season called Scarlett Fever.
This episode originally aired on February 17th, 2009. It was written by Erica Green Swafford and directed by Paul Holohan.
So before we get started, I just want to mention that Rom-Com Detectives is currently hosting a giveaway for a romantic comedy mystery novel called True Crime Lovers by Jodie Wenner. To enter, just head to romcomdetectives.com/truecrimelovers and you can enter the giveaway, which will end on October 15th, 2025. And then a quick TV police update. So it looks like the Rewatch podcast hosted by Tim and Owen is going to be a video podcast. So yay, I guess you actually watch them, not just listen to them. And they posted a preview today, another one, and it looks like Amanda's going to be one of their early guests because they posted a clip with her. It was nice to see them all
Yay.
together. But yesterday, Owen had posted on the subreddit, which was a nice surprise. He wanted to tell everybody about the podcast and like encourage people to sign up and like email in to like be a guest on their show. And he said that they're going to be dropping several episodes next week when they debut, and then after that they're going to publish weekly. So they're definitely going to overtake us, Karin.
They are so fast.
But yeah, that was fun. And so by the time this episode comes out, this will have already occurred. But we're going to be hosting on the Mentalist Bullpen Discord. We're going to be hosting a watch party, and we're probably going to do that every week, depending on how that goes. But yeah, that should be fun. If you want to, I mean, you don't have to wait to listen to it or watch it, and then you can't. That means you can't come. But like, you can just listen to it on your own and then come to the watch party and like experience like other people watching it at the same time. But basically you just watch it and you chat at the same time with their fans. It's really fun. So
yeah, I'm sure they're just going to be sharing so many fun stories. It'll be fun just to discuss that with other fans.
Yeah, so watch for that. Excited for what's coming. It's so nice to have actual official content.
Yes.
I mean, the whole reason we started this is because there was nothing, right?
Right.
So we're just like, we got to make our own, I guess. But now there's extra. Woohoo! All right, let's get to the case briefing. This episode is at a residential development outside of Sacramento. And I guess it has a country club nearby. Or you wrote down a country club development. Is that a thing? Where they
That's what they said. I know. I don't like, what is that? Is that a thing?
base it around a country club? Is that what they mean?
That's kind of the vibes I was getting.
I'm not in the
know.
country. I don't come from
No.
the country club class of people, so I have no idea.
They love their country club so much. It's their own little town.
It seems like. But so the title relevance in this one is, I mean, the victim's name is Scarlett. So, but also it kind of seems like she was kind of a rat. Like Scarlet Fever, the actual disease, is like
Yeah.
it like presents itself with a red rash, and it kind of seems like she was like an annoying rash among the neighborhood just because she would what she did and things like that. And it has to do with like the motive of the killer too. But cause of death was poisoning. And okay, you go into why the CBI is involved, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so they didn't really specify why the CBI was involved, but Lisbon mentioned that this was an unincorporated community outside of Sacramento, and so they wouldn't have their own like municipal government services, so there wouldn't be a police, fire, medical, that kind of stuff. So I would.
But what does that mean?
So I guess it's. I guess every state has unincorporated communities. They're a city, but they're not officially a city.
Huh.
So oftentimes they would get their services from the county seat,
Okay.
which would probably make sense would be Sacramento. I'm not sure it makes sense that it would be CBI as
Yeah.
opposed to SAC PD.
Yeah. And at one point, Cho mentions like he was in contact with like some like security like team at that residential area or something. So I mean, they have their own like
Something.
yeah, they have
Yeah.
something, but I guess not like investigative kind of police people.
Right.
So
Right.
the killer in this one was Heather, and her motive was revenge for her daughter's death. Or I mean, not just revenge, but like she wanted to stop like I guess further incidences to do
Yeah.
like what happened to her daughter. There are so many guest stars in this one. I had to spend a lot more time doing this than I usually do. There was there was Yancy Arias. He played Victor, and he's actually the mayor in Bosch, so he was kind of a familiar face. But he's seriously made the rounds on police procedurals. He's been on Castle, Bones, Hawaii Five O, Elementary, Blue Bloods, more than one CSI, more than one NTS. This guy gets a lot of guest star work. And then there was Mira Simhan. She played Azra, and she's been on NYP. She's made the rounds too. She's been on NYPD Blue, Crossing Jordan, Cold Case, House, Castle. There was a lot of Castle crossover with this one. There's Marguerite McIntyre. She played Heather. She's from CSI, Bones, and Numbers. Lisa Arturo. She played Jackie, and she's from The Rookie, Bones, Criminal Minds. Andrea Bogart played Patience. She's actually from Lucifer. I I can't remember but she was in Trip to Stabby Town, so I think she was the victim. I'm not sure though.
Mm.
But she's also been in Hawaii Five O and CSI. There's okay, so this one was was kind of exciting. So there's Jolie Jenkins. She plays Mandy, and she's from the Ghost Whisperer, Psych, CSI, but she was on X Files, and she was in Alone. She played X Files agent Layla Harrison. So if you watch X Files, but you're not completely sure who that was, Alone is the episode where like Mulder's just kind of come back and like they have to like they do like this episode with like some new like agent who was like no she got promoted from like a file office or file room or something like that. She was in some other like role and then she became a field agent and then she got trapped underground or something. But she was kind of a significant person because she comes around and then she gets trapped and then at the end she asks this very important question that was very amusing for X-Files fans, which was how did you guys get back from Antarctica? Which is from the X-Files movie. Anyway, I just thought that was really funny because I didn't recognize her in the episode, and I only saw that when I was looking through her IMDb stuff. But it was so weird. Like, there were a couple of actresses in this one where I just thought there was someone else. They look like other actresses,
Yeah.
like Mira Simhan. I had her confused with Indira Varma, who's been on Rome. So, because I guess I thought because that's a Bruna Heller show, I thought that he was bringing her on because he would bring on
Sure.
cast from his other shows, you know, like how with like Polly Walker and stuff. So I thought that was her, but it's not her. And then with Marguerite, who played Heather, I thought she was Josie Bissett. Anyway, Jane's skills in the episode. He in the beginning he's hypnotizing somebody. He's got his skill with children, and Karin has credited him
Y-
with tennis
y-
advice.
Yes, he gave tennis advice. He add more backspin or something.
Okay, let's get into the episode breakdown. So it starts with a fancy party at the Marquesa house, which is a very nice house.
Yes.
it's
Yes,
more like a it's more
the
like a
script calls it a
mansion.
yeah, he calls it the script calls it a McMansion.
Uh, but the hostess stumbles out of an upstairs room, foaming at the mouth, and she just hits the railing and falls down to the first floor right among her guests. And wow, like when she hit the railing, it's kind of a brutal fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she just rams right into it and just clumps down to the floor. And her poor kid, he runs out and he's like, "Mom!" I can't imagine the trauma of that kid. Like
No.
I kind of wish that he'd been sleeping and he just didn't have to see that. I mean, that was terrible. So next we go to Jane, who's hypnotizing a man in interrogation. He's got like tattoos all over his head and stuff like that, and he's
Yeah.
questioning him in a slow, relaxing voice. And he's just getting into it when Lisbon comes in and says, "Hey, we got a case. So are you gonna be much longer?" And then she's like, "Oh my god, he's busted." So they haven't really like they haven't come back to this in a while. Yeah, like I know it was in like episode 2, right, where she was getting upset with him for
Right.
hypnotizing the girl.
Yep.
But did they do it? Did she scold him about it after that?
Like in intervening episodes?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think so.
yeah.
I think they're
This is
just
only
coming
the
back to the
second.
idea.
Yeah. But yeah, in the second episode in Red Hair and Silver Tape, she had told him it's illegal and you're not to do it. And so she comes back to that here and she's just like, it's illegal and it's unethical. And he tells her, "Oh, I'm doing it for the organized crime guys." So I guess other CBI agents are totally fine with him doing it. And he tries to justify it to her, right? He's like, "Well,
Yeah.
this guy's killed people and I need to do this."
Yeah, and if you would just leave quietly, I might be able to keep him in his trance.
And I love that once he tells her that it was for organized crime, she goes and bangs on the mirror because she knows
Yes.
they're watching.
That's funny that they trusted Jane to be left alone with this guy. I mean, what?
Yeah. they must He must have a reputation though, right? Among the CBI. He
Yeah.
closes cases.
Maybe they just wanted the deniability, like, Jane did that on his own. We were just
We weren't in here. How do you know we were in here? There's no way you can see in there. But they were there. They show two guys in there watching. But it was funny because she's like, "Well, his lawyer is coming down the hallway right now and he's got a mean face." And he's like, "Well, I gotta get him out of this trance first before we go." And she's like, "Well, hurry up." And then sure enough, the lawyer does walk in. And I did wonder, like, if she wasn't sure what he was doing or who the guy was, how did she know that his lawyer was on his way, right?
Yeah, that's good. Good point.
But yeah, the lawyer walks in and right, the guy's still in a trance when he comes in too, but he doesn't really notice. And Jane just reaches out to shake his hand, and that's when he triggers him out of it. So, but I was amused that Jane, like when she's like getting like upset at him, he's just like, "Just calm yourself, woman. It's no big thing." This is the second episode in a row he
Yeah.
called her woman, and like talking about calming down and having patience. Okay, so right from there, we transition out to the Marquesa house, and Rigsby's walking them through what happened. He says they suspect poison, and but he says that it's a big house, and they're not sure where she was poisoned yet. So someone turns the body over, and Jane notices something about her eyes, and none of the others know what he's talking about. And Lisbon's like, "Use your words." And instead of answering, he just rushes upstairs. Rigsby follows him, and Jane explains that she had more mascara on one eyelash than the other, so that means she was reapplying in the bathroom. And I gotta like, nitpick this part too, because I'm not really a big makeup girl, but the eye makeup thing just didn't make sense to me. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you don't reapply mascara. I don't think once it dries, that's it. I don't think you really go and reapply because then it's gonna get all clumpy and
Yeah.
it's gonna look terrible. So and like when you look at I went back and I paused on her eyes and it looked more like she had mascara on one eye and no mascara on the other.
Right.
So
So, and we see in flashbacks that she was definitely already engaging with the party at this point.
yeah, yeah.
So, that she just excused herself to completely redo everything.
I don't
It's a
know.
little, yeah, it's a little thin.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense to me. So I don't know. Maybe whoever wrote this scene doesn't really know makeup either. Okay, so they head into the bathroom. They search the trash can, and they find a napkin with a lipstick note that says "Now we're even." Very ominous.
Dun,
And
dun,
then
dun. And they
yeah,
also found a glass
with
on
liquor.
the counter that had,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's almost empty. And then the intro plays here. So the next day, I didn't know that there's more suits than normal in this episode for Suit Watch. The next day, Lisbon and Jane go back to the house, and they show them driving through this high end neighborhood. They're like looking at all the different houses and the different fancy vehicles that the people have and stuff like that. So they're trying to establish that this is a, a rich neighborhood. But out front, the widower Victor, he's hugging two women. He says they're two friends of Scarlett who are helping take care of him and his son. One is Azra and the other I think is Patience. But did he introduce him there?
I let me double check. I don't think it was Patience, just because I just went back visually.
I had written down
It was
later that it's Patience because
that would make sense because
she
Patience
takes her
took the
keys.
keys,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think in the script it's Mandy, and
Oh,
I think
okay.
it was the dark-haired Mandy as opposed to Patience.
Thought it was a blonde lady. I gotta check real quick.
Sure, sure.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is Mandy.
But I had the same thought. It would make sense if it was Patience.
Yeah, but I guess she just went back at a different point. So after the two women leave, they head inside, and I thought this was kind of weird. Victor hands Jane his wife's bag, and he's like, "My
Yeah,
wife was very organized," and then Jane just starts going through her bag. So Lisbon tells him that her drink was laced with rat poison. And in the meantime, you can hear like his son Oscar playing. He's like a pirate or something, playing really loudly. And the stuff with the sun is like they layer this through the episode throughout
mhm,
because it becomes important later. But Jane does his like offensive questioning thing. He asks the husband outright, "Were you having an affair with Azra?" Which is one of the women from outside. And he denies it. And, this is a thing I have mentioned before is that Jane is wrong all the time. And like here, he just realizes, oh, yeah, I'm wrong. And he apologizes to him. And he asks if they're business partners. And he says that she's actually his accounts manager. And Jane is just like, okay, that explains it. But he doesn't say what that explains. He says it
right,
later, but at this point, he doesn't say what he understands, right? So, but he asks where his wife's keys are because I guess they weren't in the bag that he was just rifling through. But the husband says he hasn't been able to find them either. So those keys become important later. He mentions to Lisbon that his wife was into making jewelry, nothing expensive, but it's just like he says he calls them trinkets. So, but he mentions that everyone at the party were good friends of theirs from the country club, and that Scarlett was the chair of the women's committee, which was a very prestigious position. Then Oscar, the son, comes barging in again, and that's when Nick, Jane, and Lisbon leave. And outside, Lisbon's like, "Why were you so focused on Azra?" I thought it was weird that they always refer to her as Azra Hadami by her full name. Did you notice that they kept saying
yeah,
Azra Hadami? I didn't know why they were doing that. But Jane explains that the way she hugged Victor outside was dinner theater. What does that mean? Dinner
I
theater?
don't I don't know. What does that mean? It was just over the top acting kind of,
Okay.
or, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Okay,
What?
okay. I gotta Google it real quick.
Dinner theater hug. Nope.
Okay. According to the dictionary, a theater in which a meal is included in the price of a ticket. And then Wikipedia says sometimes called dinner and a show. It's a form of entertainment that combines a restaurant meal with a stage play or musical. So he must be, like you said, critiquing like that it was just very
Performative.
yeah, performative, yeah, or fake or whatever. So, but he thinks that she's stealing money from him. So, because he says she's hiding something. So after that, Lisbon's like, oh, okay, so she'll have Van Pelt look into her financials, and then she sends Jane to the country club with Rigsby. And so while they're there, Rigsby suggests that because of the lipstick and the poison, the killer is probably a woman. And then they meet Heather. She is like manning some kind of table or something. She's like, oh, everyone's been expecting you. And Rigsby asked to speak to the women's committee, which is what the victim was in charge of. And she's about to call them on the loudspeaker. And he's like, oh, actually, can we do this more discreetly? But she's like, oh, no, everyone will know in minutes anyway. And so this this gossip aspect of this crowd of people is pretty important later. That helps Jane like at several points in the case, and so she just calls them on the speaker. She like calls Jackie and Mandy and Patience, and she's like, "Can you meet us here? The police are here. They want to talk to us."
Oh,
It must have perked up everyone's ears, right? They must have been like, "Oh,
yeah. It's funny though because the extras they have in the background don't really react.
yeah,
They're just kind of like, "Oh,
yeah."
okay, business as usual."
It's kind of funny that Heather does this though, because I'm sure because she tells Jane during her interview that she's not really into gossip, but so it's kind of funny
Yeah.
that like she kind of takes away the fun out of the gossip by just being like, "Oh, the police are here, come meet us." She just kind of preempts everybody's like
Yeah.
yammering, and she just like announces it to everyone. She's above it all. So they meet the committee, and Jane suggests, oh, since she was a chairwoman, she must have had a lot of enemies. And so that starts off like some cat fight between like some of the other women. Like one of them tells another one, "Speak your mind, bitch." Just like, oh, I love Rigsby's face too. He's like, oh God, what have I done? But he's like, oh, maybe we should interview you guys separately. So that's where they split them off. And so they start off with Heather, and she tells them that she saw Scarlett arguing with Azra, or excuse me, Azra Hadami. And she says that some people suspect that there's something going on between Victor and Azra, but again, like she doesn't follow gossip, so she's not sure. And so they ask her, oh, who does know about gossip? So that sends us to their interview with Mandy. And when Jane brings up the possible affair and asks if he's having an affair with Azra, she just laughs at him. She says Azra and Victor are just friends, and Azra would never do something like that. So I guess that explains actually why she was the one at the house
Yeah.
with Azra earlier. They were like they're the they're together, but and she like tries to say like, well, it was probably the husband because 90% of the time it's the husband.
And Rigsby says, "Oh, it's
No.
more like 70%." And Jane's like, "Yeah, yep, that 70%."
So next they go to talk to Patience, or actually it's just Jane who goes to talk to Patience. It's after her tennis match, and he's casually getting water behind her while, and then he starts giving her tennis advice. He's like
Mhm.
critiquing her game, and she's probably the most antagonistic out of all of them, right? She's very to the point
Oh,
and blunt.
she has quite the attitude.
So she drops something here that's kind of like a clue later that helps Jane. She says she has to go because Mandy's trying to out. What does she call her? She calls her like a dwarven. What? I thought it was amusing, but now I forget. I didn't. She calls her something. She calls her a name.
In the script, it's toxic dwarf.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't catch that.
But yeah, she has to go because she wants to go, and I guess they're auctioning off two romantic nights at the Cliffside Inn. So and she's wondering why she needs that because her husband is not in town. But so unlike Mandy, Patience points the finger at Azra too. She says that she's having an affair with Victor and she knows why because she has an eye for that stuff. And she also says Victor's a loser. And she asks why, if she dislikes Scarlett so much, why is she wearing earrings that she made? Because at the house, Jane had asked to see some of her jewelry, so I guess he has like a feel for her style.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's kind of important later because he makes this observation as they talk to people. He doesn't say it all the time. He says it with patience, but he doesn't. I don't think he remarks on it with everyone else. I think that's on purpose because they don't want us to pick up that Jane
Right.
is looking at this. So next, Risby talks to Jackie in Scarlett's office while Jane is looking around, and she was Scarlett's deputy, so she knows a bit more. And she tells him that Scarlett had talked a lot about moving away, and she was tired of keeping up all the costs of I guess the high cost of living in this neighborhood. And Jane notices a safe in the office and asks her for the key, but Jackie says that only Scarlett has a key. And in this scene, Jackie is like really eyeing up Rigsby. She's sending him signals.
Oh no.
At the office, Jane is telling Lisbon that they really need to get the safe open, and Lisbon says that they have to get a search warrant. So they start like workshopping, like catching everybody up on the thing, and Van Pelt tells them that she accessed Azra's financials and she cleared out her bank accounts. And Cho gets off from the neighborhood security team, which I thought was weird because like, is it just that it was weird timing? Did they tell him? Did he tell them to go to go look for Azra?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but they reported to him that her home is empty and she's gone. And that's when Jane raises his hand. I thought it was cute that he raised his hand. He's like, "Oh, oh, I know." He's like, he knows where she is. And so next we go to the Cliffside Inn, and Rigsby and Van Pelt they open a door and burst in, and they catch Mandy and Azra in bed.
Dun dun dun.
So I guess they bring both of them in, but they want to talk to Azra because of what she's done with like the money and like Jane suspecting that she's been stealing. So Grace tells Lisbon she's been there 6 months and she'd like to take point on the interview. I thought it was so funny that Lisbon's like snarks at her. She's like, "What do you want? Half a cake?" Ah,
That's such a good line. It's
yeah,
you gotta feel for Van Pelt though.
I
She
know.
just
Poor
wants
thing.
he just wants to have more to do.
I know. But she starts by asking her why she was running, and Azra explains that she just needed space and that she didn't. But who moves out of an entire house and clears out their accounts for space and then goes to a romantic weekend? Like,
Right?
where is her stuff? Did
Oh, I
she?
am so confused by
I
this.
know. It must just be that she moved out of the neighborhood, right? And maybe they cut that out or something because it makes more sense that she just moved out of the neighborhood, maybe.
But she's at the beginning, she's all, "Oh, Victor, we're here to do anything you need," and supporting Victor, and then she just clears out her house?
Okay,
Like,
okay,
she
but
leaves.
Karen, that was the dinner theater.
Oh, right, right. Okay, alright.
So okay, so Grace mentions like, why'd you clear out all your accounts? And again, that's I guess that doesn't really make sense if she's just moving out of the neighborhood because I mean, is she moving cities? Because why else would you clear out all
Right.
your bank accounts? But Azra at this point is like, maybe I need a lawyer. And after given the conversation that comes after, yeah, lady, you needed a lawyer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this I thought was a little shady, but I guess that's like why like Grace want it's like they're showing that Grace is like honing her skills as like an interrogation thing. So after a nod from Lisbon, she carefully words things and says, "Well, just say the word and we'll have a lawyer too. But what your lawyer will tell you is you best speak up. And so this gets her to actually it's very slyly gets her to not specifically ask for a lawyer and also spill all the beans.
Right. So she's incriminating herself in a financial situation, but
Yeah.
she's clearing herself from the murder.
Yeah, so I had asked on Discord because there's a couple of people who work in law on the Discord, and so they're saying that they don't think that saying maybe I need a lawyer is direct enough. So it doesn't mean that they have to like. It's not like a case where they have to stop talking to them right there and go get their lawyer. So I guess there's some leeway here. But yeah, like I said, this lady, she really needed a lawyer because she ends up like confessing to a whole lot of crimes. She basically admits to like she says, "Oh, I was skimming money off of deals that were supposed to
But
I
she
didn't
said
murder
she was
her, but I was stealing, that's all."
but she was investing the money and she was determined to pay it back, it sounded like. But then with the murder, she's like, "Nah, I'm just out of here
It
after I
looks
have a romantic getaway."
priorities, right? I guess patience didn't win the auction.
Nope.
Ah, okay, so out in the bullpen, there's other like shenanigans going on. Jackie's waiting, and Rigsby's like, he he's like, "Oh, I'll be right with you." And then he like asks, she's like, "How did you find us?" And he like tells her that, "Oh, you bid on a romantic weekend, and your husband is away, and you laughed at Azra and Victor as lovers." And the way Rigsby is talking, it's so funny that like he's like talking about almost like he figured it out, but it's clear that Jane figured it out. But he's playing a role here. She's suddenly very concerned about anyone seeing her and saying it would be a huge scandal. And then Cho walks by. He's like, "Hey, we can't get a search warrant until the morning. And then we're gonna go tear the place apart." And Rigsby is just like, "Hey, dude, no." Like he doesn't say that, but he's like making like a shut up noise at him.
Right.
And Cho is playing like bumbling, stupid, like loudmouth cop kind of thing. He's like, "Oh, sorry." Like he didn't know she was there. But afterwards, Rigsby's like, "That was confidential. Don't tell anyone." This is what I was talking about, like how the gossip thing is like important. They really play into the gossip monger aspect of all of these people. And I like that they utilized that. It was amusing. But after she leaves, Cho goes and tells Rigsby that, "Oh, he wasn't bad, but your delivery was a bit wooden."
And Cho is offended, even though
Yeah. He's like,
he is
"Wooden?"
he was totally being Cho, and that's it's just
What do you
funny.
mean wooden? That was just me. So next, Grace and Lisbon go to talk to Victor. Oscar is playing loudly in the background again, but Victor is pretty devastated over what Azra's done. Basically, she's like used up all the reserve money in his business. So, and he had been struggling already. So, like this is like an established thing that this is like a problem in with the Marquesas is that they're struggling for money, and it turns out they're
Mhm.
struggling for money because of Azra. And so they tell him that they had noticed that there were like these $5,000 deposits being made into his personal accounts, and he tells him, "Oh, that was just my wife's jewelry business." And that he says that she had made a deal with a couple of boutiques recently, so he's kind of just like hands off about it. He's just like, it's just
Yeah,
her jewelry thing. Even
yeah,
though like you would think that if he's struggling and this money is keeping them afloat, he would have been a lot more interested.
yeah,
Like,
especially after calling them trinkets that she's selling to
yeah, yeah.
friends and
But
neighbors.
but meanwhile, these trinkets are keeping them afloat.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Maybe she was just reassuring him and just being like, "No, no, no, I'll handle it." It sounds like he was just either he was just like Lisman like accuses him of this later too, like being like willfully ignorant of everything. But meanwhile, he's Victor serves Oscar lunch and he's like doing the typical kid thing. He's like pulling a lettuce out of it,
Uh-huh.
going, "Ew."
Ew.
Children don't change. My son does that too. But Grace mentions that Scarlett used to call a lot of burner phones and had a regular appointment in Marysville. And he tells them that, oh, yeah, she visited jewelry markets there or antique jewelry markets. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? Like used jewelry? Like at a swap meet?
Yeah. Yeah, like a swap meet kind of thing.
Hmm. So Lisbon gets a call from Cho. He tells her that there was no DNA on the lipstick, but it was from a color called tongue in cheek. So that's where we get our episode title from. It's the lipstick. Lisbon tells him to check stores, and then she also tells him to meet them in Marysville because they're going to go check out where Scarlett was going to meet someone. So back at the country club, Rigsby goes to talk to Jackie, while Jane goes to talk to Heather. And as they commiserate over how dumb it is to obsess over tennis, Jane says that maybe people just need a purpose. And this is where Heather mentions that her purpose died earlier that year at the age of 16. She says that her daughter, while high, wrapped her car around a tree. Like her friend walked away unscathed, but her daughter died. And Jane asks her why she doesn't leave it all behind. And this becomes, I think this gets called back to later,
Mhm.
where people, they reveal that like this is something that people have told Jane when his family died. It's like, why don't you just go start another life? Just leave it all
Yep.
behind. But apparently she's stuck there. She can't afford to leave because of the house. And she says that those people are her friends and that's all she has. But she says something really sad. She says, once you lose a child, all this striving seems kind of ridiculous, you know? And Jane says, unfortunately, I do. And I thought it was interesting here, though, that she doesn't ask him
Uh-uh.
about it. You know, she just kind of like, it just goes, I don't know, it kind of goes over her head, it seems like. She doesn't even perk up. Because I would think that, like, if she's in so much pain and he says, unfortunately, I do, she would be like, oh, what happened with you? But she doesn't seem to react at
No.
all.
Maybe it's all too fresh for her still.
Yeah.
But you can really see Jane wrestling with this here
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
affecting him.
Next, we go to Marysville, where Grace, Lisbon, and Cho are. They're, it's like some kind of nighttime. There's like a
Dirt.
dirt bike race going on. It's like a dirt bike slash
Yeah.
black market swap meet.
Yeah. Let's go watch the dirt bikes and buy some jewelry.
And
Bring your
drugs.
wives bring your wives along. They sell jewelry here.
But I thought this was very coincidental. Chase or Cho chases a guy and arrests him because a guy runs. And it just so happens to be the guy
Yeah.
that
Well,
Scarlett used to meet with.
he like sees them having a drug deal exchange and
Yeah.
comes up on them and is like, "Hey, what you doing?" and shows his badge, and that's when they run.
But it's not like they had like a name of a guy that they were looking
No.
for, right? They just had the address of
Yeah.
the place. So it could have been
Yeah.
anyone, but just so happens that Cho
Cho
sees
found
this
him.
guy.
Yeah.
He's that good. A bit wooden, but he got the job done. So at the country club, Rigsby and Jane were like a team here in this episode. They're always together on things, yeah. So they go into the chairwoman's office, and what they're gonna do is wait in the dark for for Mandy's gossip that Rigsby had planted with her to bear fruit. And so what they want to do basically is find out who took Scarlett's keys. So they've planted the info that they're gonna go and come with their warrant the next day and find out what's in the safe. So they are expecting whoever has the keys to the safe to appear that night to go clear it out. Uh,
Yep.
okay, so back at the market, Cho is going through the guy's van, and Lisbon's interrogating him. I wanted to note this. So Van Pelt is looking up his record, and she has this little device in her hand. It's like making beeps and stuff, and so like it looked kind of fancy for that time period, right? Like, what
Yeah.
was it?
I have no
Um,
idea.
because it was like this sleek kind of black device, and it's more something like what a modern phone that we all are used to now, right? But it's like all of them seem to carry flip phones. in this era of the show, right? But she has this like square or rectangle, black rectangle device that she's looking up his record on. She gets the high tech device. But Lisbon is questioning him, and I guess they found some pills. She's like, this doesn't look like candy. uh, she wants to know why he was supposed to meet Scarlett, and he's actually surprised to learn that she's dead. And then when Cho finds a whole big bag of pills, he finally admits that Scarlett was his biggest customer of prescription drugs, and that she bought them by the hundreds, and that's why she had a weekly. Although I thought it was funny that this this country club lady puts in her daily planner, gotta go meet my drug dealer in Marysville. She puts her
Yep.
drug dealer appointments in her planner. Oh my
Yep.
god.
She couldn't just remember that. She had to write it down.
But he does mention that he originally met her because she looked desperate and he saw her at the swap meet. She was trying to sell her jewelry. That's where he told her that there are easier ways to make money. But he said that she was always talking about how this is the last time, this is the last time, and they had like I said earlier, the lady. Okay, which lady was it? It was Jackie. She had told Rigsby that Scarlett had wanted to stop. Right? She not stop the drug dealing. She said that Scarlett was. She basically mentioned that Scarlett was tired of keeping up with all the living in the neighborhood, the high cost, right? Or she had talked about moving away or
Something
something.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. But so it basically sounds like Scarlett was exhausted, like keeping up their way of life. And then the drug dealer reveals that some other lady had started calling him recently. She's had like the same kind of, he says she had a same prissy kind of voice, and she wanted to start up her own operation. He didn't have her name, but he had her number. Liz was like, well, why don't you call her? So right, they take us back to the country club office, and somebody finally comes in and she unlocks the safe, and right then she gets a call on her phone. It's the drug dealer.
Yep.
Jane turns on the lamp, and then that's when they bust her. So they take her back to the CBI, and Patience is touching up. It's Patience. So she's touching up her makeup right at the two-way mirror, and right in the face of Jane Lisbon. And Jane finds this very amusing. But why do you think that was? He's like laughing a lot at the way that she's
I
acting. Like she's
Yeah.
so,
I think she's so brazen. I
yeah.
think he's just kind of amused by how she purports herself, her body language and, her confidence.
And it's so funny that like I think it happens twice where he's like laughing and he looks at Lisbon. She's like totally not amused. So he's like, oh, okay, never mind. It's not that funny.
I would be so amused if they had Lisbon more out at the country club, how they would have, had
Yeah.
her act with all the women and the
She would have
cat
been going
fights.
she would have been going around glowering at everyone.
Right?
That's probably why they kept her out of those scenes. Uh, but Patience, like Karen said, she's very brazen. She basically like has an excuse or an explanation for everything, and she's just like she lays it out for why they don't really have a case against her. And Jane's like, well, when she says it like that, that's true. And I think he laughs at that too. But Elizabeth says they're gonna have to let her go, but that they're gonna utilize some discreet surveillance. And so the next day, she's had Rigsby and Cho go and sit outside her house. And she said discreet surveillance, but they're not very discreet.
No.
They're just parked outside her house with the windows down.
Yeah.
Rigsby's staring at the lipstick. Where did they get the lipstick? Was it in the bathroom? It must have been her lipstick, yeah. This tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I don't know. Or if they pick some up at the boutique,
Yeah,
or yeah, I
maybe,
don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, actually, because they said that the lipstick was what was used to write on the napkin, right?
Right. So I don't know why
I don't
Rigsby
know
would
whose lipstick it
have that.
was. Like, Was it Scarlett's lipstick and Heather used it because it was on the counter, or was it Heather's lipstick and she used her own?
Yeah, I don't
I don't
know.
know.
It's I think it would make sense that they would pick up because it's a boutique item, so it'd be
Yeah.
available locally, a more,
Yeah.
local product, so maybe they just picked one up to have?
Mm. But it's
Or
so
when they had to test f they 'cause they
they
identified the
said there's
colors, so they would
yeah.
have had to do run some tests back at the CBI.
Although that makes me wonder, like, how does like a lab come up with
I know.
the act that, especially if it's a specialty boutique brand of lipstick, how do they narrow down what the lipstick name is? I can see if it's like a mainstream brand where they would have like I guess different like identifying traits of it on file or something, but I question how they would have like a specialty lipstick.
Yeah, are they swatching all the lipsticks from the boutique or and then Rigsby's like,
Yeah.
"Actually, can I have that?" I mean, I don't know.
But this whole scene in the car was so amusing because Rigsby's staring at the lipstick in his hand, and Cho's reading a book next to him. He's like, if you're thinking of trying it on, don't. It's not your shade." But then Rigsby starts asking, "What do you think about older women?" Like, Cho's like really taken aback by this, right?
Yes.
Because I think because he's just been like going on the assumption that like he's only gonna thirst after Van Pelt, no one else. So he's probably just like, what? What do you mean older women? What older women? But he's like, I don't think about older women. My mother's an older woman. But then Cho like sounds worried. He's like, "Are you trying to set me up with someone?"
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's so good.
But I guess because Rigsby says that older women like themselves more and they're at their sexual peak, and he goes, "At least that's what the research says." So I guess he's been googling.
He's
the
been
be-
thinking about this.
he's been googling the benefits of older women. I
Phew.
find this so amusing. And I like that Cho looks at him, he's like, "What the hell happened to you at that country club?" Oh god, the scene was so funny. And then this is all like the cherry on top is that Patience heads over to their car and like she's like holding a plate. And I like how Rigsby's like, "Oh, she saw us." And he's like,
Right, he
he's like
starts ducking
scrunching.
down.
He starts scrunching down like he can actually hide. Like I said, his window is rolled down. There's no hiding, man.
Oh,
Oh, I love this about Rigsby though. He's so cute and so dorky.
yeah.
But she hands him a plate with a panini on it, and she's like, "I'm gonna go for a massage, and please don't follow too closely." So this is just her being her, still being brazen. And Rigsby takes a bite of the sandwich, and then Joe makes a comment, and it's like, "Yeah, dude, what are you doing? You're investigating a poisoning." I thought it was funny that this is probably the only time that we see Rigsby spit out food.
Looked like a good sandwich too.
I know. I love paninis personally. They're so good. So Lisbon and Jane go to inform Victor about Scarlett's drug dealing. Oh god. And Jane's like, "Well, everyone seems to know about it." And Lisbon's like looking at him suspiciously, and she's just like, "How did you not know?" She's like, she was medicating half the neighborhood. And while she's like grilling him, Jane notices that the son Oscar is eavesdropping from an upper balcony in a costume, and this leads to like a really kind of sad, but it's like good character building for Jane.
Yeah.
But he goes to talk to him, and Oscar tells him his dad is upset because they haven't been able to find who did it, but Oscar just wants his mom back. And I like that Jane is very honest with him. he tells
Mhm.
him, "You know that she can't come back, right?" And he tells him that he's really good at make believe, and that what he should do is he should talk to his mom. He can talk to her anytime he wants. And he tells him that he talks to his dead wife all the time. And then they play swords.
I love it.
So next we go to Rigsby and Cho. They're like bored on a bench. They're waiting outside the country club, I guess, because they did have to go follow Patience to go get her massage. And Rigsby's wondering, oh, I wonder how long a massage takes. And Cho's like, well, they do a bunch of other stuff like facials and waxing and blood. I guess Cho knows about older women because he says he bought a gift certificate for his mom. And then Jackie walks up. She's wearing like a really nice short pink dress. Like, oh my god, these people dressed like that in the middle of the day. She does look really good though. But she starts flirting with Rigsby, and oh my god, he like does he touch her chin?
Yeah, I think so.
Because he notices her lipstick shade. I guess he's been like looking at it so long that he can recognize it on sight. But he's like, "Oh my god, what lipstick is that?" And she's like, "Oh, it's tongue in cheek." And she just bought it the day after seeing Patience wearing it. And so he's like, "Are you sure it was her?" And like suddenly, a spa worker starts screaming, and they run in and they go and find Patience dead. She's been stabbed, and one of her cucumbers is
I
like
know.
askew on her face. Have you ever done that? Put cucumber slices on your eyes?
I
I
must have
did it.
tried it at least
I
once.
I did it once out of curiosity when I was a kid, and I was like, "What is the point of this?"
Yeah.
They just get hot after a while, and
Yeah.
then well, I was like, "What does this do?" I have no idea. Whatever. I guess it just looks cool. It looks refreshing. Maybe the spa people are supposed to replace the cucumber slices every once in a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just such a cliche at this point.
I know. But the team assembles outside the country club and they start discussing, like, why was she murdered now? And Jane seems to be putting things together here.
Yeah.
They're like talking about, oh, it kind of seems like someone's taking out the drug competition. And then Jane's like, well, because like I think at this point Lisbon says that, oh, like maybe it is Victor, and Jane's like, well, yeah, the husband does seem to fit nicely, and Lisbon looks at him confused because it's not like him, I guess, to be so agreeable.
Right?
So this is something that becomes like a trend, I think, from around maybe I think maybe it started sooner, but basically at some point during this season they start establishing that there's like behind the scenes stuff that they hide from the viewer, basically, where there's some kind of plan that Jane does not go over on camera and they just execute it on their own, and then they reveal that it was all a plan afterwards.
Yeah.
So Jane goes inside to Jane's got to set things in motion. He goes inside to gossip with Heather and Jackie, and he pretends that he's being a gossip hound. He's like, "You gotta really promise not to tell." And then he tells them that they suspect Victor. They ask what's gonna happen to Oscar, and he suggests, "Oh, he's probably gonna be put into foster care." So he's like, yeah, at this point, it's clear that he knows he knows what he has to say here.
Yeah.
I think to draw out Heather. So this is all targeted at her, even though Jackie is there. Wait, is it Jackie or is it Mandy? See, oh my God, there's so many of them.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Jackie.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So next we go to the Marchesa house. The gossip has made the rounds, and everyone in
Very,
the
very
neighborhood,
quickly. Oh
yeah,
my goodness. Like the whole
the whole
town is like
neighborhood's
there.
there, along with news crews, because there's people with cameras and everything.
Yeah.
And they've gathered there to watch as they arrest. I put like air quotes around that Victor. Rigsby leads Victor out and he puts him in the car while Cho holds a screaming Oscar. And Heather gets so upset that she rushes forward and confesses that it was me, I killed both of them. And so then like they show Victor like nodding at his sons and Oscar looks fine now. And so it was all like an act. Like they were in on it to help draw
Yeah.
out Heather. next we have Jane in interrogation with Heather. And he's telling her that he first suspected her because she was the only one who wasn't wearing Scarlett's jewelry. And she's kind of upset. Would you say upset by this? She's like, really? Because of the jewelry? Because she had, like, when you look back on it, she had been trying to cast suspicion on Azra. Like, she's the one who told them, I think Victor's having an affair with Azra. So you got to look at her, or got to look at him. So she was trying to misdirect them from early on. But he says that he suspected her more and more once he heard about her daughter. And so she talks about her daughter. She says that because she died when she was 16, she says she was so full of life and that she had taken pills from a friend who got them from her mother, who got them from Scarlett. So she blamed her daughter's death on Scarlett. Uh, at this point, you can see that Jane is like really moved by what she's saying.
Hmm.
His eyes look a little red and teary.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see him swallowing too. I think you can hear it at some points too. He's having a hard time hearing her talk about this. And she tells him that her daughter dying was like her soul was ripped out clean, and yet the world kept on moving and the parties kept happening. And she killed patience because she had started bragging that I guess she was going around telling people, "Oh, don't worry, I got your back with the
Yeah.
pills." She was gonna go right on doing that. And so Lisbon takes the tape of her confession and says she'll get it transcribed, and then Heather can sign it. And then she leaves. And then after she's gone, Jane looks at Heather and he asks her, "Now that it's done, does it feel better?" And this is him asking for personal reasons,
Yeah.
right? He wants to know that now that she's gotten her revenge, does it hurt less, right? And it just speaks a lot to like the constant pain that Jane is in, but is hiding from everybody. Like he puts on a really good front, but you can tell that it's there. It's under the surface, but it's there. And tragically, she says, "No, it doesn't change a thing." And he nods, like he understands. Yeah. Victor and Oscar go to thank Lisbon and the team, and so they explain here that Oscar was put up to it because he's great at make believe. So they asked him to act to help catch his mom's killer. Then I guess Victor and Oscar are gonna move away. So as they're leaving, they catch Jane heading into the break room, and he comes to tell them bye, but he looks uncomfortable. And then after they leave, he's like, "Oh, another minute, and I, I would have missed them." He says he hates when they say thank you, and Rigsby doesn't understand why. And Lisbon teases him. She's like, "Because he likes to play the Lone Ranger." Who is that masked man? I never got a chance to thank him. And then this was surprising for me. I mean, they had been building it up, but Jackie walks in. She looks really good, and Jane warns him, "Oh, what?
Yeah. It goes
She's
over to
coming.
Rigsby.
She, she's coming for you, man." And he's like, "I know."
I
I
asked her
asked
out.
I asked her out to dinner, and they all look at each other like amused. And yeah, but I don't know. I mean, they kind of drop it after this.
Yeah.
It was very temporary kind of change in Rigsby's love life. What did you think?
Yeah. 'Cause I mean, they're touchy feely right away. Like they walk off arm in arm. Yeah. I'm tagging myself as Van Pelt. That utterly, utter confusion.
Okay, cold reading. At what point did Jane crack the case? So I think it's after Patience dies is when he knows for sure
Yeah, I would agree.
when they're outside.
And they've learned the angle with the drugs and then putting that together with Heather not wearing the jewelry.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, hot reading. I didn't really recognize any locations that we've seen before. Did you? The
No.
neighborhood just looked kind of like typical rich neighborhood kind of thing. So I didn't recognize it or anything.
So at the very beginning, when Lisbon is introducing the case, she shows Jane the paperwork with the victim's picture, and there's a form filled out. But pausing on the screenshot of the form, none of the information really matches the case. and the line for current spouse says Wendy Susan instead of Victor.
Oh,
So I was just wondering if that's a little Easter egg that they just wanted to
what do you
have a
mean?
little.
Like,
I think it'd be more like whoever was filling out the form wanted a surprise for a couple of their friends or something like
oh,
that.
okay, okay.
Like, you can see your name on TV. Look, I got your name on TV or something like that.
Well, Wendy Susan must be happy somewhere.
Or if it's two different
Two
girls or
friends.
something. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, none of the names linked up with the characters here. Some deleted scenes from the script. There wasn't a lot, but there was a brief scene introducing and dismissing an awkward character named Dolores.
Hmm.
I think that was more to show Patience's character because she was totally like, what are you doing here? No, I'm not going to talk to you."
At
There
what
was
point was that in?
That was after Patience was playing tennis and Jane was talking to her.
Oh, okay,
They
okay.
had they had just someone she was, like, wearing a lot of layers, like, she was covered up a lot more than the other women, and she would just wanted to ask Patience a questions, and Patience said, "Nope, I'm not talking to you, go away."
So just establishing that she's kind of a bitch.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
But I mean, to be fair, that was like established well enough even without the scene.
I believe so, yes. I thought it was funny, there was in another place, there was, Van Pelt was talking about how Scarlett was getting a lot of calls from a burner phone, and they defined a burner phone at that point.
Oh,
Like, I was like, "Yeah, we." I don't know, were they really that new of a concept at that point? They were, like, telling them what a pay-as-you-go plan was and all of it.
I have no idea when this became a thing. So
Yeah, it was kind of outdated information at this point, so it's hard to say how new they were at that point. And in the script, um, when Patience brings them the sandwiches, Cho actually eats one of them. I think it's much more funny with the poison reminder at that point.
Tim was hungry in that take, so that's why he ate that one.
There you go.
Rewatch checklist. There weren't a lot of just been moments. I feel like Jane calling her woman a second time in a row maybe is is one you can add for like the old stage late stage married couple kind of vibe. No updates to the punch list. Suit watch. So there are four suits at least. I might have like forgotten one somewhere along the line, but the first there's a matching charcoal suit with a light blue shirt and thick white stripes. There's a light gray jacket with a dark gray vest and a white shirt. I don't remember this white shirt, so that's new. White shirt with thick gray stripes. There's a matching charcoal gray suit with a light blue shirt with like white accents and there's like white fibers in it. And then there's a navy blue suit with a light blue shirt with medium white stripes. And then we're adding to cheat watch this episode because Mandy is cheating on her husband Jim. Revenge watch. You wanna talk about that one?
Yeah, so we've also added to our revenge watch. We've got Heather's motivation here. We already said this quote, but Jane asking her, "Does it feel better?" And she says, "It doesn't change a thing." And it's I think it's interesting to note that in a previous revenge with Tommy, the fire starter, he said it was worth it.
Yeah, he
So
says,
they've
I know what revenge costs. It's worth the
yeah.
price.
So now we've seen both sides.
Okay, favorite lines. What was my favorite line? I didn't write one down. I've mentioned any lines that I've mentioned that kind of stood out to me, and I like them. I guess I'll say it's chose what the hell happened to you at that country club.
Nice. Yes, that's actually my Cho Zinger
Oh,
of the
he
week.
has to
Just
sing
that
at the
whole
beat. I didn't see that.
That's alright. It's the whole culmination of that scene. I think that whole scene, Cho's lines are so good.
And it's just the way that he looks at him too. Like he's just like
Yeah. I chose the line where, Rigsby and Jane are starting their stakeout at the country club in the office, and Rigsby says, "Should have brought some snacks. I don't see this working in a hurry."
Was this before or after the panini? It was before, yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back with our new Memory Palace quiz. Okay, we are back and we have a new Memory Palace quiz for you this week. The way this works is I'm going to ask 5 questions of increasing difficulty plus a bonus question about the episode we just discussed, and you'll have 5 seconds to come up with an answer. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay, question 1. How did Jane bring the man in the beginning out of his trance?
He shook his hand and clasped his forearm.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, question 2. What was Heather's daughter's name?
I don't know.
It's Rachel.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, question 3. What was the drug dealer's nickname? The
Digger.
guy. Yeah, that's right. Question 4. What kind of panini did Patience give to Rigsby?
Ham and cheese.
Yoo-hoo! Very good. Okay. Question 4. Actually, I should have made this one earlier. How much cash was Azra going to run away with?
Oh, it was like $12,000 or $15,000 or
No, it was $125,000.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so for a lady who was supposed to be paying this guy back, she
Yeah.
sure had a lot of cash to go run away with.
Wow. Wow.
She's got some nerve,
Okay.
man. She did not mean to pay it back.
How much money did she skim from this guy?
I don't know. She did a number on him, though. Okay, bonus question. What does Jane call Oscar after their sword fight?
D'Artagnan.
Hey, very good. That's one of the... Is he one of the 3 Musketeers, or is he the 4th?
He's the 4th, I believe.
Okay. All right. Any last thoughts about the episode? This is a good standalone one, but it actually has good, like I said, good establishment of Jane's character. So
Yeah, I agree. It's just a fun, especially I think the Chigsby dynamic in this one is top notch.
Yeah, very good. Okay, if you're enjoying Rom-Com Detectives, please consider taking a minute to leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you're on Spotify, Reddit, or YouTube, please leave us a comment and answer our question of the week by telling us what you think about dating older women. Have you done the research? If you'd like to join additional conversations about The Mentalist, you can visit the Mentalist subreddit at reddit.com/r/The Mentalist. And you can join the Mentalist Bullpen Discord server linked in the sidebar. To contact me and Karin, email us at hosts@romcomdetectives.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky, or Threads at romcomdetectives. For our next episode, we'll be breaking down Bloodshot, so if you'd like to ask us a question or tell us your own thoughts about that one, you can leave us a voicemail or text message at 1-650-733-XOXO or 9696. This episode of Rom-Com Detectives was recorded on September 26, 2025. Rom-Com Detectives Mentalist Unit is co-hosted by Crystal Watanabe and Karin Lubbers and is produced by Pico's House. Bye, everyone.
Bye.